Yo, okay, so everyone remember when Attorney General Pam Bondi said that the Epstein files were sitting on her desk awaiting for her to review. And then a few weeks later, after the FBI finally released the secret Epstein client list, we find out that there actually is no Epstein secret client list. It doesn't even exist. And although there was an entire suspicious minute missing from the Manhattan jail cameras when Epstein reportedly unalived himself, that's not even the problem, the missing minute. The problem is that nobody believes none of this shit. And then to make matters worse, Trumpito doubled back and admitted that there actually was a secret client list, but since it was written up by Obama and Biden era FBI, it can't be trusted, which is crazy because Comey is now under investigation for creating fake FBI information. So why not just find out who made that assessment and charge them like they how they're doing James Comey? But I still like Pam Bondi. You know, she's still gang. But you know who's really, really angry at Pam Bondi? Yeah. Right now he's the deputy director FBI, Dan Domingo. He said he's probably going to resign from the FBI since the Department of Justice has decided to seal much of the material. They say they're sealing the material on the Epstein files to protect the victims. But just like Tucker Carlson said, where there are thousands of victims, there should at least be one perpetrator. They couldn't just give us one perp because then we would he probably have to unalive himself too, so it wouldn't spill over on the other billionaires and famous entertainers who are on the secret client list that doesn't even exist. This is so crazy. Yo, my name is Marcus Russell. This is the Marcus Russell Show. Make sure you tap that like and subscribe button. Let's get right to the video.
So breaking tonight, a feud at the Justice Department over the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. A source tells Fox News tonight that the FBI Deputy Director, Dan Bongino, has not been seen in the office since Wednesday after a heated argument with Attorney General Pam Bondi at the White House. Our correspondent David Spunt has this story.
A verbal clash between Attorney General Pam Bondi and Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino at the White House this week over the release of DOJ's Epstein memo. The two-pager out earlier this week insists the convicted sex trafficker and offender killed himself, and a client list does not exist after all. Fox is told by 4 separate sources Bongino is so upset about the rollout of the memo, he didn't show up to work on Friday in protest. One source says he hasn't been seen in the office since the argument with the Attorney General. Bondi teased the release of the Epstein material for months.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
But earlier this week, when pressed,
I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that.
The White House is defending the Attorney General. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, in a statement to Fox News, says the president is proud of Bondi's efforts, adding the continued fixation on sowing division in President Trump's cabinet is baseless and unfounded in reality. FBI Director Kash Patel staying silent in the matter, at least publicly. He's been criticized online, along with Bondi and Bongino, by Trump supporters who feel the administration is being dismissive and not candid about Epstein. A source close to Bongino says he's thinking about resigning over this memo rollout, although no final decision has been made. Meanwhile, sources close to Director Patel and the Attorney General say they plan to stay right where they are.
Now, let's check out what Trumpito had to say about that. Let's get right to that video.
President Trump brought Attorney General Pam Bondi along last night and gave her a thumbs up as he attended the FIFA Club World Cup final, even as some of his most fervent supporters are accusing her of a cover-up.
I don't think he realizes how much she's humiliated the administration. This is a self-inflicted wound. She caused it. Again, I have nothing against Pam Bondi, but if you want to look for the villain in this story, we have found her.
Over the weekend, Trump wrote that Bondi is doing a, quote, fantastic job, and told his supporters, we're on Team MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. Some of Trump's supporters are blaming Bondi for the administration's decision not to release more information related to the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein,
Yeah.
the accused sex trafficker who was found dead in his jail cell in an apparent suicide in 2019. Trump, like many other New York celebrities, had some association with Epstein. This video of Trump with Epstein is from 1992. When Epstein was arrested in 2019, Trump said they had previously had a falling out and had not spoken in 15 years. It was Attorney General Bondi who set expectations earlier this year that the DOJ and FBI files on Epstein would be released.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
But in a big reversal, the DOJ and FBI have now announced the end of their investigation, writing that a review found, quote, no incriminating client list and, quote, no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed anyone, and confirming that he had died by suicide. As for that so-called client list,
I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file.
Yo, this is the only thing about that. Like, if somebody handed me the Epstein files, I'm reading it in the car. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even going to make it back to my office. But only a small portion of the details from the actual case even have been made public. But like I said, I'm still with Pam Bondi. She's still gang. I don't think that they sealing the files because Trumpito could be implicated. He had distanced himself from Epstein 15 years prior to his death when Epstein caught his first child trafficking case. But I do think probably some of Trump's associates or maybe some important political figures are on the list that doesn't exist. And if one gets implicated, they're for sure going to tell on the others. So they just got to bury the case. And although Trump, he had campaigned that he would bring justice to the children who were victims and put a spotlight on them pagans who we have heard for years have been up to this type of malarkey. The thing is probably just too big of a scandal. And like, hey, at least they admitted that aliens are real, right? That's a start. The truth is that they already told us too much information about this case. Like, they told us that there are tens of thousands of videos. Like, he had hidden cameras all over the island, but who's on the footage? And then I guess the chick, her name was Giselle Maxwell. She's just in prison for being a madam with 0 clients. I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Until next time, peace.
for years, many Trump allies, including his now FBI Director Kash Patel, pushed for the release of the government files on the Epstein case, insisting they would implicate prominent Americans in a sinister plot.